Hello world. So today I'm going to show you how to set up your local Ethereum development environment. So I'm going to use a DigitalOcean instance just because they are super cheap. They're $5 a month. If you for some reason don't want to run a DigitalOcean instance or in the cloud, you can always follow along by using virtual machine on your box with Ubuntu. So to get started out, I'm going to SSH into my cloud instance. In this scenario, I'm going to be using Ubuntu 18. And as always, when you first SSH in, you want to update this thing. So we're going to run apt-update and apt-upgrade. So I recently just ran this, so it should just basically auto-complete. Yeah, everything's good to go. There is a little bit of auto-remove I could do just to clean up some space, but I'm going to skip that for now. The next thing you'll want to install is the build essential tools. So this will add in like GCC, make, install, those kind of things. So as we step forward, some of the node packages will require that. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to install Nodejs. So instead of using the apt-get version that comes with it, I'm going to download this node source setup file. You can take a look at this too, just to determine the validity of the file before you start executing random things you download from the internet if you want to. But we can execute this with just bash and then run this. And this is going to basically update some of the package repositories for our Ubuntu instance, and that's going to point us to like a newer version of Node.js. So in this instance, we downloaded version 8. And if we just run apt install Node.js now, we're going to install a much newer version, which is very helpful. I believe the typical version that Ubuntu will install by default is something like version 4 or something. So like 4 versions ago, essentially. So that makes it pretty difficult to be doing like Ethereum development, considering that it's cutting edge development. So we can just verify running Node.js version 8 npm. Let's verify 5.6, so very new. So the next thing we want to do typically is we want to get set up with like our local Ethereum test environment. So for that, I'm going to use Ganache. So Ganache is made by the Truffle team, and we're just going to install this globally. So we're going to run npm install -g and then Ganache CLI. And I'll be including all of these commands in our description of the video. And Ganache CLI, if you haven't played around with it, it's super helpful. So what this will do is this will create a local a private Ethereum blockchain for development. So it precedes itself with 10 accounts, 100 Ether each. We get the public-private keys, and this will essentially load in a JavaScript interface that we'll step into more in some subsequent videos. But this is a super duper helpful tool for doing Ethereum development, as you can run a local Ethereum blockchain environment on your machine without having to go through a bunch of additional setup. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to utilize Truffle. So Truffle makes it very easy to deploy smart contracts. So we're going to install that again, very similar, npm install -g Truffle, and this will install Truffle globally for us. And this open source project is very helpful. So let's make a Truffle test directory and change it to that. And then let's just run Truffle init. And yes, this is great. So we have all of our Truffle is working. We created a setup and initial environment. So the next thing I want to do is I want to get my VS Code working. So if I pull this in, VS Code, I will want to install this package called remote. So remote VS Code, this is super helpful. So let's install this guy and reload our VS Code. And let's pull that back over to the side for a little bit. And then inside of our virtual machine instance, we're going to download this package called rmate. Now let's just change back to the root. And this is going to download it into our user local bin rmate. And then let's just chmod that to make it an executable. And then let's SSH out of our instance. So now when we connect, we are going to add in some additional parameters. So we're going to add in -r and this port number and the localhost port number. So what we're doing here is we are saying we're going to reflect this port back into our local host, and essentially you can just cut and paste this and not have to worry about it, and this will allow us to start editing files from our cloud instance, and it's going to open up into our local VS Code. So let's just do test.txt. No. Did not work. So no worries, no worries. Let's just pop over here and we look at the VS Code. We need to cut and paste this little snippet of code into our user configuration. So if we pop over here to settings, and you can see that I've already cut and pasted it in to confirm that we're working. And I'll just do that one more time here. So your VS Code will look like this. And if you paste it in and then add a comma and save, and then we come back and we just rmate our test.txt. Wow. And then we just hello world, and we save that file. And then if we look over here, hello world. So this is super helpful. You know, we can go into truffle.txt. Oh, it doesn't take a directory just yet, but we can fix that in a subsequent video. But just pulling up another file, this is super duper handy and will be really helpful as we continue this series. So hopefully you're able to follow along. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns in the comments, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers!